Hey guys, Jee Choi here of the House of Black Joint Society. I want to give you guys a quick status update on the AMTAC Minuteman that has been regrinded and edged by my good friend Daniel Melly of Epicurean Edges. It is now a fully double-edged blade. The swedge has been sharpened on both sides. Now I had some of you guys ask me, why do I have it sharpened? It's due to the tactics that I employ. For those of you who trained with me in the past, you know what I do, which is Floro fighting systems. And in FFS, how we thrust and slash is almost indistinguishable. As you can see, this appears to be a slash, appears to be a thrust, but just by curling the bottom two fingers, it turns into a slash. Because in FFS, we slash edge in and not edge out. Although I do utilize some edge, forward edge cutting techniques in reverse grip, and I'll show you guys that in a second with my training dummy so you guys can get a better idea of it. But this particular blade, so my thoughts after having this as my shop knife for the last month and a half, it is absolutely a delight. Anytime when I have a student or client that comes by to check out the blades, after training, or some clients as I do some stippling on whatever the grip they bring in, they actually get a chance to handle this while I work. And every one of them would ask, how can I get me one of those? And I just simply say, AMTAC. Oh, Bill, if you have more of these swags on the next order, please send more, especially with your business card, so I can help you promote your blade. Because there are a lot of people who really like this, and I am still shocked by that. Some people who don't get on the web. There you go. So I'm going to drop this for a second and just put it aside and explain to you guys why I personally prefer that blade, and I'm going to give you guys a technique demonstration on just a second why I want it double edged. Okay, give me just a second. Okay guys, meet the designated training dummy, or my speed bag that I heavily duct tape, because even aluminum trainers do go through the paddings like it's nothing. But this is a good way to show you guys why I want a double edge. So obviously, if we deploy from concealment, as you can see with the horizontal thrust, and as I go down the abdominal aorta, once you hit around the navel, and I'm going to try to bring the camera so you can see it. There's two options that you got. Just for the demonstration, I'm going to point that to where the camera doesn't disappear so you guys can get a view of it. If you have a sharpened back edge, when you pull through the side to the navel, it will cut. So what that allows for, obviously, is a cut. It'll still shift the body slightly. Then you could go straight into either A, optical nerve to the eye, or B, targeting the subclavian. If you did the subclavian, you get from subclavian thrust, you can lift the neck, and obviously there goes middle thyroid right there. So there's that kind of techniques you can employ. Another thing that you can do is from a horizontal thrust is going straight down to aorta, and if it doesn't have a back edge, once you do this, that's a navel rip, and this will turn the body further because there's nothing. If it's a cut, it cuts through. If it's a tear or rip, it'll pull whatever the connective muscles and the tissues there towards the direction that the blade, the blunt side of the blade, is forcing the body to turn to. Thus, a thrust directly into optical or straight to the subclavian, or in this case, it actually might end up being a middle thyroid, or right into the little empty spot right there, right in the neck. So because of that, you could do it really depends on the tactics you employ and the art that you utilize, and there's no wrong or right way of doing this. So because of this, personally though, I do like to go things in a different way and how I'm trained to do it. I do utilize a lot of double-edged blades in my training. So, and as I showed you guys for FFS, if you guys haven't seen it, in FFS, how we thrust and how we slash are almost indistinguishable. If I have my primary edge, which is the only edge that's sharpened, I have to, in order to utilize FFS, I have to turn the grip this way to have the edge facing towards me. And even then, I can still deploy FFS thrust and FFS slash, which as you can see is indistinguishable from one another. However, if I have both edges sharpened, then I no longer need to change my grip and just keep it as is, because there's a sharpened swedge right there that will allow me to facilitate FFS cuts. So this is the reason why I personally have a double edge, but those of you guys who train in this kind of tactics where you draw from concealment into pretty much thrust, I'll show you guys the whole thing. So there's several different ways how I train. Let's say you deploy from conflict, you're trying to negotiate to diffuse the situation verbally, then shit happens, and you throw a spearing elbow to shield and also to attack your opponent at the same time. Then you throw a horizontal elbow slash or horizontal elbow strike or thrust, whatever you want to do, to kind of pressure slightly as you go straight into what we call in the industry outside 90, as coined by Tony Blauer. If you haven't checked that particular spear for like self-defense and stuff, check it out. It's definitely worth your time, okay? So there's outside 90. This allows me to get that time, just a momentary gap, to throw in my thrust with my blade and deploy that. And from here, as stated earlier, we go straight to navel, basically going to aorta and straight down all the way to the navel. Now, as demonstrated before this, if you have a blunt side of the blade, when you do this, you turn the entire body towards the direction that you're pulling the blade, because there's no edge to facilitate the cut to exit the blade. When you do that, that also positions them perfectly for the thrust into the optical nerves through the eye. And obviously then afterwards you can hook onto your opponent's tricep tendon to get him to a position that you want for termination if need be. Or you can thrust into the subclavian, and then from here, that's a middle thyroid slash that can be applied with this tactics if that's what you're trained to do. And obviously because you turn your body, you just go straight into it, you might want to just target straight into that little blind spot right there, little hole in the neck, to pretty much end the situation right there if you're going for termination. Now many times my students ask me, gee, that's great training, but the problem is my job or my jurisdictional law prevents me from carrying any blades. Okay, that's fine, guys. If that's the case, then what I recommend you do, you replace the blade with something that's legal. I have my light inside my office, so I'm right now in my workshop, so do that. I'll just pull out my typical DC pull-out, okay? So imagine this is my tactical flashlight, like ProTac 2L, that's clipped to my pocket. So shit happens, I go into my spearing elbow. Spearing elbow can be used in many different ways. From here like this, from just situationally, I'm trying to defeat the situation verbally, and shit happens, and I just simply turn that spearing elbow right here from down to up. That could work if you catch him right on the chin, and if he drops, and all you need to do is just kind of squat slightly as you lift this up. They'll give you more power behind your spearing elbow, and if you're going for the lifting right on, strike to the chin. If he drops there, that's time. I mean, he's neutralized pretty much, situation's done. But in case he does not, that's what the horizontal elbow slash does the trick, and then I go into outside 90 for reference. Now, from this position on, if I have my ProTac, I would get straight into the optical with my ProTac 2L. Now from here, even if this is light, I'll strike him and I'll hook him to his tricep tendon with the light. I just push him out to create that distance and also position him where I want him for my follow-up shots if I need to. Or if I have a better option of going straight into my guns, obviously that's what I'll be going into. So that's how we do our training. The training with the blade is not just limited to the blades, okay? In a place where a blade is prohibited or where we cannot, due to whatever the reason and the logics that be by the douches in charge, you could always utilize the same manner with a different tool because your technique's not limited just to the knife. So there you go. Final thought on the matter for this particular segment. I get a lot of you guys on YouTube and also on Facebook ask me the following question. Hey G, is this knife worth $550? So you're asking the wrong man on this one because I really am now a super big fan of Bill Rapier's blades. I mean, solid. They are solid. When I say that, this is coming from me with, Jesus Christ, now I got, we've been doing something for like over 36 years, and majority of that time is spent on the bladed arts. Folks ask me, is there any blade that you haven't handled? That's probably the better question than have you handled this. So when I first handled the Northman, my first thought, I'm going to be honest, wasn't too impressed by it. That's exact word for word. Then more and more I start to put that particular blade and trainer to the test through training, and it wasn't even mine, it was my students. They'll bring me these and we'll simply put that to work in our training. And what we found out was that little knife could do so much in that small package that is worth more than its dough. And guys, for those of you who are saying $550 for a knife is a little bit too rich for me, get a Northman. It's $450. Now it does come with a pocket sheath, so you might either have to mod that storage sheath into an IWB sheath like we do here at the House of Black Dragon Society, or simply just buy a belt sheath from Bill and do that. Choice is all to you. This main reason why I recommend the Minuteman over the Northman is for the following reason. So Minuteman's grip fits me much better without, obviously even with the Northman, you don't have to worry about the blade, riding the blade when you go for a super deep thrust in forward grip or reverse grip. However, even in the reverse grip too. But if you're really worried, I will tell you to get the Minuteman. Because the Northman, as you can see, I'm going to show the difference. This is a trainer, by the way, so it's a bit smaller than the live one. If you see in comparison, the grip is slightly smaller because it is meant to be. Think Glock 26 versus Glock 19. So when I do etch in reverse grip or etch out, it really doesn't matter. For me, I never had an issue with riding the blade on either one of them in training. But I do have students who have bigger hands that they do have an issue with. And for those guys and gals is what I recommend. Yeah, even ladies too. Some of them actually do find that Northman is actually a bit small for them. If that's the case, then get yourself a Minuteman. And the cool thing is, here's the key thing why I would say Minuteman versus Northman. Minuteman comes standard with a belt sheath. So you carry it inside the waistband with a belt sheath that's practically, in my opinion, probably the best sheath right now at this time. If you get the Northman, this thing comes with a pocket sheath. And I do have students who are actually a whole lot faster in deployment from their pocket than they are actually deploying it from the belt, especially in concealment. So because of that, there's really no wrong answer to which one you get. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here for a second. So conclusion, hand feels lonely. Conclusion, $550, worth it? Most definitely. Get it. It is definitely worth the dough. For those of you who are kind of hesitating because, well, I'm not sure if I want to spend that much on a knife, I'll tell you right now, you can spend that same amount of money getting a different blade, then you're going to have to send it in for sheathing because your sheath doesn't work shit when you come to train with me. So when that happens, you're going to have to invest another $100 on a sheath, or plus that's excluding the whole shipping and handling charge to whoever you send it to get the kydex done. And third, can you really trust that kydex maker to even get that sheath done and send it to you on a timely manner? I'm probably not the only one, but many of us have been held hostage, or our knives been held hostage by the kydex makers than anyone else. So fuck, man, this is the reason why I don't send my blades in for sheathing anymore. Only time when I would actually buy a knife is when it's not just me, but pretty much all the students and members of the House of Black Dragon side. We only buy knives if it has the right sheath, because if it doesn't, it just doesn't fit with our training anymore. So there you go. For more information on this particular blade, and like I said, Bill, on the next purchase, can you send us more of your stickers and also your business cards if possible? Because that way I don't have to keep on trying to jot it down for my clients who are too old to actually type on their cell phones. But anyhow, AMTAC Blades, and this is the Minuteman, okay? There you go. Let's just see if I could do that. Ray taught me a trick with the camera by simply having like a colored background. Focus is better, and I think he's right on it. There you go, forward edge. Sorry guys, I'm not much of a cameraman. There you go, there's the back edge. Really hard to see since it's so shiny, because when Daniel sharpens, they are super bright. Alright, there you go. That's enough of that. Alright. You guys have a wonderful day, and if you got any questions, simply hit me up on Facebook or through YouTube. I guess you could even message me, and that's fine too, or simply email. For questions regarding training for using this in my method, Bill offers his own system, so AMTAC shooting and is probably the way to go if you want to learn directly from Bill. If he's near your neck of the woods for any of his training classes, highly recommend it. When he's in locally here, I will definitely be in one of them if I can. But if you're just looking to learn directly from me, in CTS Quintessential Handgun, we have integrated the blade fully into our method. So if you guys are interested in learning to deploy your blades from concealment and using that particular manner for your defensive use, by all means, come and see me and schedule for training with me in Quintessential Handgun and Comprehensive Technical Solutions. At this time, I'll tell you guys right now, I do not offer just strictly handgun marksmanship, which is taught through our CTS Essential Handgun. Main reason why is I cannot justify the students' logic in paying over $30 per box of 9mm. That's just fucking lunacy, guys. I just can't justify the reason on that. So let's wait until the price for the box of ammunition is at least around $10, where it's logical. Then we can get our training in, okay? So at this time, Quintessential Handgun, or if you just want to focus on the blade, no handgun whatsoever, we do have our carry blade program, so by all means, come and see me for that. All right, stay sharp, be safe, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care, bye.